Hi, I am Allison Adams, proud Nurses Educational Funds board member, NEF, and I'm here today with Dr. Rita Reis Wieczorek. Dr. Wieczorek has published 5 collegiate textbooks, over 100 journal articles, and many newsletters in professional nursing, in healthcare, research, and education. Dr. Wieczorek has been a consultant in maternal child health care around the world, including in the United States, Canada, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Asia, and Scandinavia. Dr. Wieczorek has a distinguished career in maternal child health care and has been a proud member of the Nurses Educational Funds for many years and has contributed to NEF's board for over 20 years in various specializations. Dr. Wieczorek, thank you for joining us today. During your long esteemed career, who were those mentors who helped you along the way?
Well, I'd like to start with the mentors that were really important in my career. And there were 3 of them. The first one was Eleanor Lambertson. She was the head of Cornell University, New York Hospital School of Nursing, and she hired me as an assistant professor. I was thrilled to get this position. And during the time I was there, I worked on my doctorate because Dr. Lambertson at our first faculty meeting scared the living dates out of me. She said, I want every nursing faculty member here in this school to have a doctorate in 5 years, or I'm going to fire you. And then she pursed her lips, and I'm going like, oh my goodness. However, she paid and offered to pay for 20 credits for any faculty member as they began their career in graduate school. That was a motive. It was a big motive for me to start. I mean, I was married, I had a child, I was pregnant, and I knew the graduate school would be my ticket to my future successes. And you know, the other thing that she did was she helped faculty members that were in the area of OB, pediatrics, to achieve a pediatric nurse certificate at Cornell. With practice, she got a member of the medical school faculty to be our mentor during this program, and it was wonderful. I met many people during that time that wrote chapters in this textbook that you referred to. The other person that was very significant mentor was Dr. Mildred Montag. Dr. Montag interviewed me for Teachers College graduate doctoral program. And she was very supportive. I didn't expect it because Mildred knew everybody in the whole world. She founded the associate degree community nursing movement in the whole world. And she took a particular interest in me. So Dr. Montag was really one of my mentors. And the third mentor that I had was Louise Fitzpatrick, Dr. Fitzpatrick. The first position I got was at Skidmore College School of Nursing in New York City when I came back. And I shared an office with Dr. Fitzpatrick. She taught public health. I was teaching the OB and then some pediatrics during that time. However, Louise also was the chair of my dissertation committee at Teachers College, so she was very significant in that role and a big mentor to me during that time. And she also was because she recently left, but she was the longest surviving dean at Villanova University, and I used to tease her. I said, who would have thought when you went there? I mean, she was the dean of the College of Nursing at Villanova over 35 years. Nobody that I can think of in the whole world could do that many years. Anyhow, I had also a lot of colleagues and that were helpful, but I have to mention that I try to incorporate my family because my family was a big support system to me. And during my 40-some years of working, I try to incorporate my family in my work, in my professional organizations, and the awards and honors that I received. And to this day, they're a real strong support system, and I'm blessed to have them.
Thank you. And what are those key achievements that you'd like to share with our viewers today?
I would say the key achievements, one that happened at Cornell University, New York Hospital School of Nursing, and that was I was promoted from an assistant professor to an associate professor. That was very big in those times. It was, the late 70s, and few people got that kind of a opportunity. In addition, she supported me. I got asked to give several presentations to Cornell Med School, and that was unheard of at that time. And I remember the first presentation I did to the med school, I took my son and I was demonstrating how to do a developmental screening test, because that was something that colleges of medicine all over the country were moving into. And after I did this developmental screening test in this big room with the medical students up and, huge, it was like an amphitheater, I said, does anybody have any questions? And here comes my son in a child's chair at about 3.5, and he starts calling on the students. I was like, and when I came home and I told my family, my husband said, well, what did you do? I said, nothing. I said I was completely shocked that he would do it. But anyhow, he did. I got through that. But there were also other opportunities that I had to present in the School of Medicine, and at that time it was just unheard of. So I'd say the promotion, the opportunities, getting that pediatric nurse practitioner certificate, these were all things that were important to me, and obviously helped push my career in a very positive direction. The second position I had was at Hunter College Bellevue School of Nursing. I went there from Cornell to Hunter, and I was the director of the undergraduate program. I got tenure as an associate professor. That was a biggie. I cannot tell you. I had my fingers crossed. I had everything crossed. I was thrilled that I was able to do that, and that took place when Dr. Donna Shalala was the head of Hunter College. So I'd have to say that was a biggie. From Hunter College, I would say another, I had some positions like at Mount Sinai Medical Center and a lot of the big medical complexes in New York. And it was during my tenure there that I was the leader of all the master's prepared nurses that were responsible for education in all the various hospitals in that complex. So that was thrilling. Plus, I had the honor of working with Dr. Gail Kuhn-Weissman, and it was with her support that I developed a nursing clinical ladder. And the purpose of that clinical ladder, which was published in a series of several articles, was the fact that it provided a framework for nurses to move ahead in their positions, and they had to meet certain criteria. And that led not only to a series of 3 articles, but what I considered one of the more important consulting jobs. I went to Cleveland Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic, in Cleveland, Ohio, where I started off in my education in the state of Ohio. Anyhow, I was invited to present the framework to them so they could modify it for their particular institution and use it as a framework throughout their medical center. So that was exciting. And from there, from Mount Sinai, Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center. I had a leadership role in education, practice, and research while I was there. And it gave me opportunities that were wonderful. The opportunities that I had, I worked with my colleagues and my staff and my support to start a educational center for nurses to obtain the required New York State education programs, and also the Joint Commission, the JCAHO requirements for nurses. And that was a win-win situation, I thought, for me and for Mount Sinai, because the nurses could go off their unit to this computer center, take the course, and go back. So it was the shortest amount of time that you could get them on and off their unit. And time is something that's very important to nurses in their practice. So that was very nice. I worked with the director of the Penzance grant. That was an educational grant. And the consulting that you mentioned, that led to a presentation in many countries. And I have to say, the one that was special to me was when we were in Sweden and we did this presentation. We got an invitation after the presentation from the Queen to go to the Nobel Prize awarding ceremonies. So I'm saying to my partner from Penn State, I said, read this. Is this really? They want us to go? Well, I was upset. She had her husband there traveling with us, so the 3 of us got invited and we went. And it was a very moving and a special thing. And I couldn't believe also that we got invited. Neither could my friend who instituted and provided the leadership at that time. From there, I moved to, I forgot one thing. I can't believe I did. But Columbia Presbyterian, was in the throes of working on the merger with Cornell. And a lot of people were naysayers. And it wasn't something that happened in 1, 2, or 3 years. It was a long time coming. But one of the added responsibilities I got while I was there at Columbia Press was to lead as a committee person to review all research that came out of the hospital, and it was related to the protection of human subjects. At that time, it was a big movement in research. So when I got this new assignment, I was talking to the president of the hospital, the director of nursing, and I said, if all the research, doctors, nurses, social work, any kind of research is going to come through my office, I need to have a faculty appointment. So I'm thinking, where am I going to get a faculty appointment? And how am I going to do this with my job at Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center? I wasn't, So anyhow, I thought, and I became a visiting professor at Teachers College at Columbia. And that was a win-win situation for me, and I thought for the hospital, because it gave the review committee a up and an idea that what we were doing was appropriate for the time and for the kinds of studies that were coming out of the hospital. This, for me personally, I will tell you as a sidebar, they provided me with a half a day on Fridays to go do this visiting professorship. But I had students, and it was after the first bombing incident in the World Trade Center. And I had students from all different specializations in this class. And that was the first time I saw nurses with computers. And they got all the information of what to do in different kind of trauma situations as a result of this incident. And the other thing, from my personal perspective, it kept me on my toes. It kept me on my toes because when you move up the chain of whatever kind of leadership or practice you're in, you narrow your focus on your own reading. And of course, I read all the journals that related to maternal, child, and pediatric nursing, but I had these doctoral students, and the doctoral students were up to date on everything. So they were my reading surrogates, and it really was a big help for me in terms of the trends of what was going on in the whole healthcare system and in practice and in medicine. And that was a great experience for me, and I have to thank Columbia for giving me that opportunity, and also the free time, that half day on Friday, to be able to go to teach these courses. And it was a wonderful opportunity. And I guess moving from that, I would have to say, when I left Columbia Press at the time, right after the merger took place with Cornell, I went to work at the March of Dimes. And I have to say, from my own personal perspective, that was a wonderful way to end my 40-plus years in nursing. And what I did at the March of Dimes is I started to expand and develop their nursing module / booklet program. And I say because today they use a different term instead of modules. If you say a booklet has a post-test, I got ANA credentialing to approve it so that the nurses who did these booklets in the area of maternal, child, and pediatric nursing got credit, which was required for relicensure in many of the states at that time. I have to say, at the March of Dimes, I had a big support team. I couldn't do it myself. I worked closely with Mary Lavin, Karen Croder, the Nurse Advisory Council, because I had a 5-step review situation, and one of the most important I considered in the review process was the Nurse Advisory Council. And at that time, Margaret Frieda was ahead of it. She was followed by Kathleen Rice Simpson, who spells her rice different than my rice. Anyhow, it was a wonderful experience. And I have to say, it was a great way to end my career, really.
Thank you for sharing so much. I would like to probe a little bit on your time at Cornell. Cornell is where you spent your, I believe, second level of graduate study. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, let's see. I started at Cornell when I was a master's student, really, at NYU. And I worked at Lying-In Hospital. And a big benefactor at that time, I remember going in to Lying-In Hospital, was a separate hospital building on the campus. And I got to meet some of the big supporters of that particular hospital. One happened to be Mary Rockefeller, and others were the Ford family, because they did, and also the Kennedy family, because most of the Kennedy children were born at Lying-In Hospital. So that was the pull-in, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. A little girl from Ohio working at Lying-In and having contact with an institution that provided these kind of services. And that really made me also think about my career in the chosen areas that I did. Oh, I forgot too. One of the things that happened when I was at Lying-In was the Dr. Peter Auld established the first NICU, neonatal intensive care unit. And that was something that started a movement across the country. And that was very exciting for me to do it, because I had been more focused on the pediatric end at that time. And then, of course, with the NICU, you're focused on the OB infant phase. So I'd say those things I will remember. I will remember meeting all the wonderful colleagues from that School of Nursing. I remember Eleanor Lambertson, Dr. Lambertson, and the support that she gave not only me. I don't want to say, she gave it to everybody. And a lot of faculty took her up on those 12 credits, trust me. 12 credits at that time, and she said she didn't care where you went. So you could go to NYU, to their PhD, you could go to Teachers College, to their doctorate. Now, you could go any institution, she'd pay for the 12 credits. So I signed up, and a lot of other people on the faculty signed up. So I think that I don't want to continue on because people are going to get tired of, who cares what she is. I really like, I think, now to focus on NEF and what I see as the future. And
what is that impact, looking for the future with this long esteemed career, that you would like to have going forward?
Well, I would say two terms that are used for healthcare workers today are essential workers and the heroes. And I have to say, I've always thought that people who worked in nursing, especially, in all the related fields, were essential workers. They always have been. They're going to be in our future. And I think they're the heroes of today and tomorrow. And so I see the work that NEF is doing to help students is so important. When I went to school in the year of the flood, I was able to get 2 scholarships for the both graduate levels. And it was really wonderful. I got my tuition, I got I got a stipend monthly, and I got all my textbooks. Well, those opportunities are not there today. So NEF provides an opportunity for men and women in nursing to continue their education. And more education is important. When I look back on the 40-some years that I was practicing, those opportunities would not have come if I didn't continue in my own education. And that's why I am so pleased that that the NEF, it's a 501(c)(3). I know that this is a terrible time to tell people, open up your hearts. I know that everyone watching this has had their lives in some way or another touched by nurses. Mm-hmm. And the future really depends on us being able to continue to do this work. So I'm happy that they have named me the face of this scholarship. I was, when they called and told me, I was at first taken back. I felt very humble. It took me a while to say yes. I'm going like, why me? Why not somebody else? You know? Anyhow, they kept the development committee encouraged me. I have to thank them for their support, for your support, and again, my family's support in this endeavor. I think I've been blessed, and I want to say to everyone, please open your hearts and your pocketbooks. And I hate to say, but I'm very happy to say, that this is an investment in our future, the world's future, the United States future, all over. So please consider a donation to the scholarship. Thank you so much, and God bless every one of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wieczorek. Thank you for spending so much time on your career, and we look forward to the future scholars and their impact as well, based on your scholarship for the future of the work that they'll be doing. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for the scholarship. We're really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Okay.